In this tutorial, we're going to be looking at Photoshop and how to use the match color feature. So I'm just going to go and grab a few pictures that I have here that I took. I'm going to drag them into Photoshop on the icon. They're going to open up here. I can see an image on the lake. It's warm, nice warm image. It's got some coolness down here, but all in all, very more vibrant looking image. And over here I have something a little more cooler, another image I took, and obviously we could look at the highlights, sorry, the tones. We have lights and darks, we have more of a cooler color, and we could say, well, I want to match to get this warmth, or vice versa. I want to match to get this coolness. So we're going to play around with that. So this image we're going to start with, I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, and I'm going to click on Match Color. And these are the options we can get. And what I could do is actually match. I'm going to go straight down here and match a source. So I'm going to go, this one is called 5. So I'm going to go to 4, match color 4. So I wanted to match that color. Now look what it does. It brings in that warmth right away. But I can play around with the amount I want. If I say I got luminance, color intensity, and fade, and I'm going to neutralize it as well. When I do it, and I could preview it obviously on and off, when I bring in the luminance, how much of that luminance do I want? Now it's very dark, or I could bring it up very light. Now that actually shows a big difference. If I shut off the preview on and off, we start to see some noticeable differences. The color intensity, how much of that color am I bringing in from the other image and how much is showing here, or how little it is, and just desaturate the whole thing. So I can kind of play around with where I want to be with, and it depends on what you're looking for too. If you're looking for something simple, or you really want to get pretty intense, it's entirely up to you how you want to do that. So we could play around with that. And then the fade is how much of it I'm actually bringing in. Am I bringing any of that color back in from the source, or none whatsoever? So this would be a lot. Fade would be 100%, would be none. So if I click on preview, obviously we don't see any changes there because my fade is up to 100%. I start to bring it down, I start to see how much of these intensities and how much of these things I want to bring in. So you can play around with that, and it starts to match the color of its luminance and color intensity of that other image. So I'm about here, if I shut that on and off, you see how it made it warmer, made it a little darker depending on my luminance, where I'm at with it. So it's a pretty interesting way to start matching the colors that way. So for this, I'm just going to cancel. I want to say okay for now. And what I should have done is duplicated it, but that's okay. I duplicate the layer. I could just Command J and duplicate that. But that's just to show you I could do that. I'm going to undo that. And I'm going to do the opposite here. I'm going to look at this image now. And I'm going to go to Image. Actually, let me do it now. I'm going to duplicate that. Click on the lock, duplicate the image. So I have my original, and I have the new one that I'm working on, Image, Adjustments, and Match Color. So now I'm going to match the color, go straight to the source of number 5. And here I can do the same thing, preview on and off, and look what it does right away. It adds that coolness, the blue tones of that other image, and not so dark darks and light lights. It's kind of more of a gray area. But once again, I could play around with, well, that neutralized did a really good job with that too. I'm going to shut that off actually for now. I can bring up the certain brightness, almost make it like an old faded picture, like this was taken a long time ago. So there's a lot you could do with it, playing around, very bluish look there, as opposed to desaturating it, actually keeping a very nice blue, cool tone to it. And I can bring up the color intensity quite a bit. Once again, it all depends on what kind of style you're going for. And I can bring up my fade, which once again brings me back to my original image. But realistically, I could play around and say, no, I do want it to be a little bit cooler, and kind of play around like that, which I really enjoy. By the way, that's how we use the match color to try to match certain things, certain colors and luminance here, the brightness, contrasts of other images, and bring it in to affect newer images. So I'm just going to leave that alone. Now I can just always go back and forth and see what the difference was just by turning on and off the visibility of the new one that I made. And that is match color.